growing up then, you grew up in an Oklahoma family?
Yeah. Family's been here for technically homesteaded at the farm that we film at, 120 years, farming, ranching. But they've been throughout the Oklahoma area since the late 1800s. And then officially at the homestead in Fay, Oklahoma, which is right near a town called Thomas, which for a lot of people don't know, that's near Weatherford, Oklahoma. And I just tell people who aren't from Oklahoma, it's basically in between Amarillo and Oklahoma City.
Yeah, that's so true. So growing up then, farming and ranching, obviously clearly, generational through the family. Did you grow up out there, or did you grow up in the city?
Yeah, I grew up in Thomas, a town of 1,200 people. Went to graduate with 35 in my high school class. I tell people all the time, I was valedictorian in high school. They're like, wow, and I don't tell them how many people was in my class. But I grew up small town kid, was working on the family farm ranch. I converted to a ranch full time in like 2008. Been doing that my whole life. So that's all I really knew growing up was that way of life and playing sports. And being a small town kid, just being in everything involved, whether it's FFA to show choir to student council. You're just involved, you do everything. So I feel very fortunate that I got brought up that way, and now it's like full circle now in my life that coming back, we're kind of highlighting that all too now. So
growing up that way then, small town life, being on farm, playing sports, running around, were you thinking, yes, I'm going to take over, I'm going to drive a tractor the rest of my life? Or were you thinking, what, I want to go do something, I kind of have other passions, and I want to go to the big city or university?
Yeah, it's funny you ask that. Ever since I was a kid, I've always dreamed really big. It's so funny, and you think being from a small town, being out there in the middle of nowhere, that you dreaming big is a foregone conclusion. But I tell people all the time, I think because you are in the middle of nowhere, you have to be creative, you have to dream big, you have to do things to get yourself outside of the monotonous day-to-day of building fence, checking cows, just not being bored a lot. I feel like growing up the way I did really helped me to not give up, and then also allow me to go chase my dreams. I came from a family of, like you said, generational farming and ranchers, and my dad from day one was always like, what do you want to do? And for the longest time, I wanted to play professional baseball. The ones that I figured out, injuries and definitely not good enough to probably play professionally. Once I figured that out, the next passion I always had was movies. And he has a lot to do with that. And my grandpa, a lot of them, they have, we were watching the Westerns of John Wayne growing up, watching Hee Haw on TV, which is like the SNL version for country people back in the 1970s. Just all that. Now that I kind of step back, I've left the state before and got to, look outside the box. My perspective is like, man, I was either going to be playing baseball or going to be doing entertainment somehow. And then now getting to do it with highlighting how my family's always operated and working is probably one of the coolest things that I never saw coming. So I don't know. That's I guess to answer your question. Yeah, I've always had support that always pushed me to go towards my dreams and not say like, no, you can't do that. You're from here. We do this. I was just very lucky to be blessed with a lot of support.
Yeah, that's really special to have that family backing and just like, fully like, what do you want? Like having your dad ask you that question, what do you want to do when you grow up, right? And most people are like, I want to go to, want to go to space, right? I want to be a fireman or whatever it is. But like just going further than that and say, no, like let's have this conversation, when you're old enough, and let's plan and see how we can get you, at least an opportunity to do that. So that's kind of special.
Yeah, very special. I again feel very blessed that's a lot of people don't get that, especially in our way of life, but I got that. So.